Yeah, welcome back to class. I'm your instructor Oladejo Seun, and in this class we are going to be discussing OCIS browser 4.0 is an improvement on the previous browser built in 100 level. We want to add more functionality to the app, and so as we start, I want you to create your new project and have the settings set accordingly. Remember, your project name is very important. Whatever you use in the project name is what you use in the Firebase settings, so you make sure that you put the right thing. For mine, I'll be using com.ocis.browser because that's what I've configured on my Firebase, and so also my project name is OCIS browser. I've set the version to 4.40. So with all this set, we can proceed to save, and now there's a project. I'll launch the project now. It's loading. So you can see there's a blank page, and one thing I did is that I've set this page such that it doesn't have the status bar, neither does it have the toolbar. So in your own case too, you do the same. So and you have this set, you can proceed. Now the first thing is to create our foreground, which will be a linear V because that's where we'll be arranging every other widget. So I'll set the ID to foreground for user identification. So I've saved that. So it's on this that we'll be building other widgets. I've set the width property to match parent. So I'll be adding 4 linear layout again. The first will be a linear V, which I'll be using for the splash screen. So let me just set the width to match parent and the height to wrap content. So I'll be using these for my splash screen, so I'll name it splash screen. Always start with a small letter. So I've saved that as my splash screen. Then I'll need some linear H, the header, the content, and the footer. So I'll name them. This is my header. Remember, this is my splash screen. After it is the header. Then my content. Choose the content. And finally have the footer here. So the essence of creating this splash screen is to display our logo and the name of the app when the app is launched, which will disappear after some time. So for us to achieve this, the first thing is I would like to set my foreground, the padding of my foreground should go to 0. So I don't want to have any padding around my foreground. Yes, everything is now full screen. Then, because I want to work on my splash screen, I'll need to set the height to match parent such that it will full screen. Or if you can see, it's still the splash screen that I'm working on now. So on this splash screen, I'll be having an image as well as a text view. Now you can see that this text view is under this image. The essence of this, that's the reason why I use the linear V initially when we started for the splash screen, while I use the linear H for other items. So I think this is my splash screen. Now I want to set the the gravity to horizontal and vertically centered, so you have it this way. Now I want to set this image. Already I have added the logo in the library, that's why I can easily access it now. Otherwise I will need to add the image. You can see now. So then this text view, I wanted to display OCIS browser 4.0, OCIS browser 4.0, save. Very good. So I will need to set the color, text color, text color. I'll still use a blue color, and the text size I'll let me try 16. Okay, 16 is small. I'll use 20. Oh good. Then I'll have to separate it from the image, so I'll use a margin to the top. I'll use a margin of 20 dp to the top. Okay, I think this is very good. So I need to add some animation to this OCIS. So let's talk about adding animation now. To add animation to our images and other widgets, you could click on the event on create. Not necessary, but that has to do with when you are using the on create event. Otherwise you could set other event probably when clicked or the likes, but because the splash screen image is just to display once the image is launched, that's why we are doing this. So the first thing you will need to do is to add a component. You click the component here, then you add a component, object animator. You can see the object animator. Then you give it a name. I named it animator, so I already have it there, so I don't need to add a new one. As well, you will need a timer for us to be able to determine how long the timer will stay, the image will stay before disappearing. So you had a timer, you give it a name. I give mine the name time. So when you set all that, you can now easily see these blocks. So for the object animator block, we have them here. The set target is used to select the image you want to rotate, or the block or the widget you want to rotate. It could be a layout, it could be an image, it could be a text, depending on what you want to animate. So in this case, we want to animate the image view. That's the logo. We want to animate the logo, so I'll need to set. Then I'll need to also select it. This is the animator, the name of the component. I'll select the name of the component. It's done now. So now that we've done this, that's why you have it here as the first part of the block. So what's, because I did some things, you can see it's not showing the image view. So now I've set that. The same thing you do, then you will need to set the properties for the image. You set the base to rotation, you set the value for the rotation such that it will rotate from 0 to 30. Aside rotation, we also have other property you could choose from. We have the translation X and translation Y. Translation means movement, that is, it moves from one place to the other. When it's X, it's horizontal. When it's Y, it moves up or down. Then when you talk about the alpha property, the alpha property is used in allowing the image to get blurred or transparent. Let me use it that way. Then we have the scale X, scale Y. That means you want to increase or reduce the size of the image. If you set it to X, that means horizontally you want the width to increase. If you set it to Y, you want the height to increase or decrease depending on the case. So for this class, let's use the rotation. Let's still use the rotation. So, and then we need to set the value for the rotation. So we want it to rotate from 0 degree to 360 degree, and that's what I've set here. You have 0 to 360. So then how long should the animation stay? That's why we brought in the block set duration. That's the set duration block. Then you need to set how the repeat should happen. Should it continue? Should it restart? Or it should reverse? For example, you want it to go from 0 to 360 and from 360 back to 0. That's a reverse. But when you want to restart, that means from 0 to 360 or back to 0 to 360, and that will be a continuous loop. So like that. Then we have the set repeat count. This is used to tell the number of times the rotation should take place, and so I have it set to 5 times. That means the animation will repeat itself 5 times. So having done all that, you need to start the animator. So you bring in the start animation and object animator. This is you use this block. That's what's represented here. So once you brought it there, you need to set it also to the animator, and thereafter you set. With this, if you launch your app, you'll discover you will see the logo that you used. You'll see it rotating along 360 degrees. That's how to set that. However, we also have the timer. We don't want this to continue forever. We want the splash screen to disappear after some time. So I'll set my timer. I'll select the timer block from these are the timer blocks. You can see we have the timer blocks, the first, second, and third. Let me explain what each of them does. So this timer does the calculation of time. It does the activity within the space after a particular time. So that means after, for example, in this case, after 10 seconds, because it's in milliseconds, so you have to use 10,000 milliseconds, which is equal to 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, the view becomes gone. That means a particular view which I've not set will be gone after 10 seconds. That's the interpretation of these blocks. So outside that, we also have the timer block again. This is a timer we use to repeat a timing cycle. For example, after the first 10 minutes, probably you want it to display hello. After another 15 minutes, you don't want it. After every 15 minutes, you want to display bye. So you can just set that with this. In that case, once you've set the timer component, after the first minute, say after 15 seconds, that's 15 seconds, 15,000 milliseconds. So for every 10 seconds, now let's set 10 seconds, 10 seconds, that's 10,000 milliseconds. So after every 10 seconds, for example, I can use it and say I can say set text to a particular value. So that's just for illustration. But in the case of this app that we're developing, we just set the splash screen to gone. We want the splash screen to disappear after 10 seconds. Remember, the splash screen is a layout that we set to contain the splash screen. So that contains the OCIS browser logo, the OCIS logo, and the OCIS browser 4.0 text. So having that done, what will happen is that after 10 seconds this page will be gone. So this page that will be gone, I want to fold it up so that I can work with other pages. So I'll set the height to just 50 so that I can work on other pages. Yes, then the next screen that will be shown is the header. So I want to set the header now. In the header there are some things that will be there. Number one will be the logo. Aside the logo, I want them to be able to type their address, so I'll put an edit text. Then I'll put okay, let me use an image view too. So now this one will be our logo. Set the image to the logo. Yes, then I want this logo to have an height and width of 50, a width of say 70, let's say 70 dp, and a height of 50 dp. So okay, onto this baby. Now let me set the scale type to fix it to X and Y. I think it's better. Now this icon, I want to use it as my go button, so I'll set the image. I already set this go button here, so you may need to add yours. Now you notice something, that these images, text are not aligning, so I'll need to set my gravity center vertical. You can see it now, it's aligning properly better. Okay, so then I'll set the width of this to match parent. Sorry, the width, set the width. Okay, let me set wrap content. The weight, let me set the weight, sorry. The weight to 1. Yes, it is better now. So once they've typed in the web address, let me set the int text. Type web address. Type web address or search word So this is going to give them an hint of what they're about to do. So having done that, that will be the header of my app. So then I'll talk about the content page. So in this content page, I want to add a scroll vertical such that the users can scroll up and down. So I'll set the width to match parent. Good. Then I'll be setting the weight to 1. Okay. The essence of setting the weight to 1 is such that it will be able to fold the screen very well. So also I will add this. I will need to add my web view inside the scroll such that I will be able to scroll up and down in this web view. Okay, so then let me walk upon my footer. On my footer, I'll be having some icons. So let's look at the icons I'll be having now. I'll be having the back button. I'll be having the reload button. I'll be having the home button. I'll be having the forward button. Then I'll have the name of my app. The name of my app. So I'll name it Ocis browser. Ocis browser 4.0. Okay, I'd like to add a copyright information. Okay, so this is it. I have this done now. Because this text is not aligning, I want to set the gravity of the footer to align them this way. Okay, sorry, gravity. Okay, I don't want horizontal suspension. Yes, I want this layout to be to the right. So, and I want the weight to be 1. To the 1. Good. So now I want to set these images. Let me set the background. The background also I want to set it. The background color for this, I'll set it to blue. Good. In this text, I'll set the text color to white. Good. Yes, now I want to set these images. Image. Okay. Sorry. Let's start with this. This is my forward. This will be my reload. This will be my back, while this will be the home. But I've not set the home image, so I'll be coming to this image here. Then I'll add through this download. Now we have the black by default. The black icons comes out by default. Sorry, it's still loading. But you click here, you have your white. So on the home button, I'll be using this for my home button. Home. So I'm okay. So I'll be using that in my app. So this will be the home image. Home, yeah, set. So you can have it now. So, but I'm not satisfied with the spacing, so I'll be creating a padding of a margin of 4 to the right, margin of 4 to the right, margin of 4 to the right. Sorry, it seems the margin is still small. Let me have 4 to the left too. 4 to the left. Okay, it's better that way. Alright, margin of 4 to the left, 4 to the right. The way. Then a margin of 4 to the left, 4 to the left. Good. So I can rectify this way. Okay. Now I need to also set the height of this. Visual content, good. A weight to 1, the width, width for 1. Good. You can see it now. So I want to undo that. In case we want to add our arts, so I'll be bringing in my art now. You just drag it under this place, linear edge. So this is what I want to use for my art. Now I can go back and add the weight of this to 1. Yes, I think I'm okay with this. Very okay. Okay, I think I'm okay with this. Now note that this part will disappear once the splash screen timer expires to disappear, but for now I'll still have to set it to match parent, because that's what we'll see when the app is launched. With this, we are through with the GUI for the browser. So let's run it and see. So we want to test the app now. We've launched the app. You can see what's happening. That's the animation. So 10 seconds is exceeded, and now the animation is gone. You can see the interface now remains where you're to type the address, and this is that which you do here, and then you see the lower part, the footer which we designed also. They are all intact. So with this, we've come to the end of the first part of this class. So we'll see you in the next class. Have a wonderful day.